All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Dahab Live.
Hello.
Hey, we've got
Hi.
another exciting desert episode for you tonight, and it's going to be like a proper nerdy history episode. So get ready, enjoy, and ask questions if you like, if you're interested in
In
your own
Arabic.
language. We've got Arabic,
Espanol, Spanish.
English.
and in het Nederlands. Enjoy. See you after the show.
See you.
What about the war scene?
Oh no.
That's next. Something else? Lunch first.
Then
Lunch and then the war scene. Then we do the war scene.
we'll look for the war scene. Then
It can't be that far away.
need another episode. I think
Inshallah.
need another episode just for the war scene.
We'll look forward to it.
Okay.
Wow.
Soft sand
Yay! Woo! We like soft sand. Soft sand. Don't stop.
and our new guest Rabia,
Thank you, thank you.
our guide
Welcome. مرحب بك يا مرحب.
Lucy,
Soft sand.
Herman, Trisha, Lydia, Annet, Sammy, Ron, me, Joseph.
Yes.
So Joseph, we're hoping to find this war scene, huh?
Yeah,
Especially after the one we got shown.
yeah.
Kind of
Hopefully we'll find it this
similar
time.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be cool if you find it. So this one you have GPS coordinates too?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and it should be a bit easier because it's not as the mountains are not as high, so the GPS signal is a bit better. So hopefully it's the right one. And yeah, it looks like it could be around here.
Could be.
Yeah, that kind of cliff face is what we're looking for. And you can see the drivers when you're looking intently to the left. Okay, it must be around here.
This reading here.
Where?
This one here. Oh.
Something here?
Oh look!
There is some right
There's
there.
definitely some stuff here.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This one. Oh.
Yeah.
And this second there.
But
Oh,
there is
yeah.
a bigger one. I mean, this is just.
Yeah, this is
So it must be very close to it, no?
just the
Yeah, you can see in the
collection
mountain
of
there.
camels
It's tough.
little bits and pieces
Oh.
all over. Oh yeah, there's some good
This
ones there.
second, see?
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's a really good one.
This
Ooh,
one.
I might want to take a picture of that because there's writing
Well,
with
I
it.
think that's the one.
Can we?
I think this is the one.
You think we should?
This is the one.
Yeah, we found it.
So this is the war scene to give you a sense of scale. And that's just up the hill a little bit. That kind of gives you,
That's awesome, huh?
looks like it's just alive.
Yeah, this body has so many inscriptions. It's just unbelievable and so detailed. Like all the camels and the reins of the camels and the people sitting on them. It's such detailed inscriptions.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, beautiful.
So can you give us like an idea of what's it called and what's the dating that we know of?
So yeah, I mean it's called the Nabatean war scene, and so Nabateans were here around about 2,000 years ago. So around the same time as the Romans and around the same time as the birth of Christ, basically that era. And yeah, they know that because there's Nabatean script near to it and kind of has the same color as these inscriptions, which tells you a bit about the age. The darker, the older in general. So if you see things next to each other in roughly the same color, then you can see, okay, that's from the same time period. So yeah, that's what we're seeing here, Nabatean war scene. And this whole valley, what is underneath, is just full of inscriptions. Absolutely stunning.
You said the darker it is, the older it is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You mean the bigger contrast, right?
The
Smaller contrast.
less contrast, the older. Because you start off with a lot of contrast when you scrape it, and then it kind of like it fades, basically. I mean, it all depends on the background. But like if the background is dark, then what you're carving. So yeah, this one's strange, huh? This looks like somebody's hunting with a modern gun, with a machine gun almost. Bullets coming out. And then here we have something that I call the strip, because it's all like done in one line. All these warriors and animals and coming from both sides.
Yeah, that looks nice. That's strange, yeah. And what about this?
This is really weird. I mean, this has the Nabatean writing, so that's how we date it. And then you've got these two figures lying down, feet touching and their hands spread out, which makes it look like some kind of magic is going
That's
on.
the Nabatean writing, yeah?
Yeah. There's a sword. And I
Oh.
can see some camels and horses. But it's
Why the
all-
color are different?
so the darker ones are older. So let's say you start carving, you would carve through all this dark stuff and it's quite light in the beginning. But then the sun hits it and the wind and it starts to get darker and darker. So this is darker already. This one's almost gone. Like it's almost the same color now as the background. So that is older and that is newer.
Cool.
And so
So we have here some old stuff here.
yeah, this is like almost the same color as the background, so it's really hard to see.
That's old stuff.
Yeah. And what you see here, also old. And what we can really date
Oh,
very-
that's a Nabatean.
yeah, you can date that very precisely.
Nabatean writing. How can you date it?
Well, that's the Nabateans were here from about 100 before Christ until about 300, 400 after Christ. So, I mean, that's how long they used the Nabatean language in the Sinai.
Hmm.
So it's within that time period. So roughly 2,000 years ago.
You can tell the difference between the camels under and the writing
Yeah.
in the top.
So much lighter. This one a lot darker. So it really gives you an idea. Yeah. That's really cool.
And here there is camel with someone on it fighting with his sword. I didn't see that one.
Very squarish.
No. That's the
This-
one I was talking about.
Well, look at this one, how detailed. Huh?
Yeah.
These are
And the one in the top of him with
Yeah.
like what?
also
he
with
had.
like a sword or a spear, some kind of weapon.
Yeah.
And he's also, like you can see, he's holding something behind. Maybe a whip for the camel
Yeah.
to speed it along, or maybe like a sword to fight with, or a whip.
Cool. Cool stuff. Guys, are you happy about the war scene?
Very, very good.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah, really cool.
And it's not like a war scene. It goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's a war timeline.
Yeah, it's like a timeline. Exactly.
Kind of,
So now we go into the old Nabatean village.
yeah.
Cool.
Something different.
ريدة
يمكن ادوق
دوق
انا ادوق الورق بس الاول.
احسن حاجة تدوق الورق انت وتشوف الدنيا ايه.
Can you? I'm gonna have it there. You filming me eating?
Yes,
You gonna try?
of course.
لذيذ ها؟
It's like Maya.
هذه
جرب معي.
ده في السنة مرة ممكن ايه يعني ما تلاقوش
وين
يخليه.
المطر دي؟
فين هودي؟
ده بتلاقيه في المطر.
فين هودي؟
So what do you know about this Annet? Or what we know about this place?
Very little, except that it's called the Nabatean village. And if that's true, that would really be the only Nabatean village that we know of here in the Sinai. I mean, the only Nabatean structures really that we know are the port and some remains of temples in Wadi Faran, which is very close. So, yeah, I mean, it would make sense for them to be here in the area. And it would make sense for them to have settlements, but this is really all we know. I don't know of any research. I would love to find out if somebody has really researched this and knows a little bit more about it.
You think how old?
Well, I honestly don't know. Like, this is a wild guess, you know. It could be Bronze Age, it could be 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000 years, you name it.
So is it Nabatean?
I don't know. There's nothing else like it that's Nabatean, so there's no way to compare it to something else.
Looks different.
There's also no writing, and there's a lot of Nabatean inscriptions all over the Sinai. Like in every corner you find Nabatean inscriptions. But as far as I know, nothing really, or nothing on these houses or in these houses, and nothing right nearby.
The Nabateans probably moved here because of all the tourism for the
Yeah.
armies.
Exactly. Yeah. They were just tired of it, you know. Buses and buses.
Camels and camels.
Come on.
Take a look in here. This doesn't look like a mortar at all.
Yeah.
But this could mean that the surface was covered in mud at some point.
Mm-hmm. You don't think that's there to hold the
I don't
rocks
think it's
together?
mortar.
They are double walled again, huh? Most of the houses. Yeah.
It's not a mortar looking.
That's very interesting. Because it's very much sort of put together with little
Exactly.
stones in between the
And
big
they,
stones.
I mean,
I can imagine the shapes outside, and you see those holes. They were support holes for something, so they were shapes outside. And
they could have.
wooden structures.
Yeah, they could have put a little cover around it. Yeah. I mean, you're talking. There's another big one right there. Look at that one. Yeah. That's quite high.
Maybe they made some sort of rope and pulley system.
That's what's most amazing, almost the height of these buildings, like compared to anything else I've seen. The height of them.
That's what it reminds me of the Southwest. This looks a lot more like, if you see Montezuma's castle, it's built into the side of a mountain, but it looks a lot more similar to this.
Do you see
Do you see?
the
I see.
the column, the palm?
Huh?
That's
Yeah.
what they use to support it.
Yeah. So, I mean,
And
I
here
would say
also.
definitely 2 floors.
This is palm tree, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Palm tree trunk, say.
This is windows. You see, they have like supported for it with. That's windows.
That's for ventilation.
Yeah, you know what I've heard in guns, germs and steel. Remember, they said they have wooden floors to store the grain.
Right. Yeah, they put, it's like a crawl space. It's an attic, basically. And they put the grain up there and live in the basement.
So that it wouldn't, if you leave it on the floor, it
Right.
gets moist and it
And
starts.
animals and whatever, you can protect it on the second floor. So it's kind of like their attic.
Another piece of wood hanging there.
Do you see it?
Yeah. For what this one?
Well, this is a smaller support beam.
To hang the meat and cook it.
Dry everything and cure it. I mean, let's see. If they have ventilation here and here and shelves, if this is the kitchen, the fire's going to go somewhere here.
It'd be the center.
So you need some support beam to hang things from and keep it out of the way of.
That's the kitchen shelves.
Yeah, looks like it. Well, that definitely looks like shelves to me. It has a huge rock at the back of it.
And here also the shelves on the side. So you were saying something about the door.
I was just asking about seismic activity because we looked at the vents and the volcanic area and basically some of the buildings that I've seen constructed in a very similar way. If there's a lot of seismic activity, they tend to make the openings slanted. Anyway, it's really small. This is not their height. It's to make it more stable. Obviously, the larger door you have, the more unstable your building is. So you want to keep your doors small.
Yeah, yeah.
It's also, you come in your house and it's a smaller area to cover. Keeps you warmer, keeps you cooler. So you want to make your door small. I always thought it was for little people, but it's not.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that episode.
Yeah, that was nice. And what we're gonna do next?
Well, next we're going to look at the Navamis. I think we've mentioned them already.
Yeah, but that's need another episode by itself. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, that's an old burial place, so it'll be really interesting.
See you soon.
Okay, welcome back, everybody.
Hello.
I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah.
Oh, the village was such a cool place. I mean, obviously we don't know how old it is. They have there what they believe that how old it is, but it's only kind of memory from generation to generation passed on from the elders to the youngest, and that sometimes can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah, because people just stick, Nabatean on it the same way that they call a lot of stuff pharaonic. And that just means it's old. Like, it's just like it's pharaonic.
It's
So
it's like
it's
really
old
old.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
Could be from
Same
Bronze
here.
Age because it's built the same way as the Naomi's build as well. Like it could be the same.
yeah, I mean
Thing.
theirs were round mainly, but yeah, it's also a good building,
But
good
the
solid
double
building. Yeah.
wall, like the Naomi's were double wall. This is double wall, so it could be built in the same time.
I mean, this is the local building style, like the Carmichael Lodge that we stayed in, which is like 20, 30 years old. I mean, they've basically used the local building style with those big rocks and little rocks to fill
What
it
I
in.
found interesting was that whoever built them already used like the local cement.
Mm-hmm.
They used the clay and sand mixture between them to isolate the walls.
Yeah.
And that's quite advanced way of building.
Yeah.
So it kind of refers to something lot newer than Naomi's, because Naomi's has no cement between. They are just laid rocks, really well done, but just laid rocks on top of each other.
Yeah.
And there is no isolation. Well,
No.
they're graves. They don't
Yeah,
really
you
need
know,
to keep
you're
them warm.
good. You're good. You don't need to heat
But
them.
it also kind of it adds to the structures. It
Yes.
makes it stronger.
Yeah.
So if they were made in the same time, they probably would be made the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now these guys use this cement, which, as far as I know, is only been used like 1,000 years or so in other parts.
I don't know
But
exactly. I thought
we
the
have
Romans
no
also.
idea what
Yeah.
it is in Sinai.
I
This
mean-
is a remote place.
Yeah.
You have to remember, this is smack in the middle of Sinai,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
far from everything.
Yeah. But it is. I mean, again, in terms of those wadis, it is at the end of a big wadi, which is a
Which probably was a river at the time.
bit of a highway or a river. Yeah.
Well, tell us what you were saying about the palm tree. Like, if we wanted to get a date on
Yes.
that, why would you were mentioning that we could go through the palm tree.
Well, actually, Gracie asking about dating timing, and
Yeah.
so you could answer this
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
too.
I mean, when it comes to the buildings, like, you could date anything that's organic, basically. So a palm tree, what it would tell you is when was it cut down or when did it die in terms of, when it comes to the tree. So that's, you could carbon date that, and then you would have an idea of when that tree was felled, which was used in the building. Yeah.
Well, calling all viewers.
Yes,
Who
please.
wants to date this village?
Archaeologists,
Where do we
museum,
send the piece of palm
anyone
tree
with a
to?
connection? Can it be done in Egypt? I don't know. Yeah. I'd be interested.
Yeah.
So, going from that to the war scene we saw, and Gracie's question, like, how do they know if you're saying we're not sure if this is Nabatean?
Yeah.
Why do then we think the war scene may be Nabatean?
I mean, that's a lot more likely because it has the writing with it. So it doesn't mean like single scribble on that rock is Nabatean. It isn't. It's from different times. But if you see the writing and then something else near it that's kind of the same color, because that determines the age, then you're like, okay, that's pretty sure. No, that part is Nabatean, which is about 2,000
it's
years.
a dead language.
Yeah.
No one's been writing that language over 2,000 years.
No.
So
That's
it's for sure
Yes. Yeah.
Nabatean.
Yeah. I
because
mean, it continued
You have
for
to
a
be
little
a
bit here.
Nabatean to be actually 400 BC,
80.
AD.
Yeah.
But at least 1,600 years old text then.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it has to be. No one else was speaking that language or writing that language anymore.
Yeah.
I want to demonstrate something and say something. When I was going as a guide, like I would camp in one area and collect some stones and build them to make fire.
And then like I leave this place and like never come back. Only like 2 years later, I find the same stones the same way I put them, with a little bit of the ash that like we were burning or something. So like why I want to say that, because like in the mountain or the desert, things stay for a long time untouched the same way, and even like the ash when the wind come and they could spread it around, but no, I found it like between the rocks, it's still there, like not fly or
Preserved.
anything, it's preserved. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's explain how they stay for like 2000 years or many years or
Nobody
like
touches
that.
it.
Yeah.
Like this area where the war scene was, that's kind of an area where it's convenient to stop because it's protecting you from the north wind. So you would stop exactly there.
Yeah.
And then the cool parts were like you could see the erosion destroying the cliff, like slowly. So there was massive chunks of rock that had come down and still had inscriptions on them that had been like almost 10 meters higher than where the sand is right now.
Yes.
So it must have looked very different
Yeah.
back in the day. Because a lot of these inscriptions are in places that you cannot reach these days.
Yeah.
How did they go up there? Like,
I mean, that would have,
were
maybe
they
different
standing
ground
on
level,
a
or-
camel? Or
Yeah.
how did they go all the
Or
way up
standing
there?
on a bit that's not there anymore. Like there's a ledge.
Was
used
there
to
a
be a
wooden
ledge,
structure? Or
I think that wooden
No,
structures. That's just not
actually,
enough
that's
wood.
something I would say, because also going as a guide in the canyons, when the flood comes, usually make the canyon deeper. So every year we go, we see the levels of the water and how the canyon get deeper every year.
Right.
Yeah,
Different
so the
colors, different
sand is
things.
flushed
Yeah.
away and then
Yeah.
it comes
So
deeper.
maybe that
Maybe the
was
sand
higher.
was 2 meters higher.
Yeah, and then
back
Could
in
have
the day.
been.
the water comes and wash it out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really interesting. This is a little bit out of the subject, but not. There's a really interesting article yesterday about the rivers of Sahara Desert that were there in less than 2,000 years ago. They found several rivers that were there, and they found enough organic material that is dating only 2,000 years to say that most of Sahara was a dense forest
Yeah, that's amazing.
only 2,000 to 3,000 years ago.
That's amazing.
So it's
Wow.
probably the same case in Sinai.
Mm-hmm.
There was rivers up there, and the climate was colder, so the mountains would get the snow cover that would then form the rivers for the summer.
For
And
sure, your
it was
fire,
completely different than it is now.
your fire pit would have been washed away. For
Yeah.
Someone
You're all
writing in
set.
Arabic مساء الخير, so we'll say for him مساء النور.
Salud. Go to the mom.
Wolfgang.
Wolfgang. Nice to see you, Wolfgang. Thanks for writing us. That's
awesome.
so cool.
And why war scene, like guys, like there is a war was there and they were fighting, or
Who
Well,
knows? Yeah.
I like what
Your guess
Sammy
is just
said.
good as mine.
We were watching. Okay, we've shared with you before. This experience is making us all together. We're watching documentaries.
Yeah.
We're
Yes.
reading more books.
Yeah.
We're trying to get more knowledge about this. And Sammy was saying something really funny, that we watched a documentary about the Nabateans, because obviously we're all personally involved now.
Yes, we need to know.
And it was like we were looking at these beautiful scripts, and then your comparison.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Nabatean towns in Petra and in Saudi now, how they were constructed and carved from the same rocks where
Yeah.
these inscriptions are. They made massive temples out of it, and they
They
are
could have
so
done that,
ornate
yeah.
and
Yeah.
beautiful. It looks like their kids were doing graffiti in this area.
I always kind of think about it as the same as with the Roman Empire, basically. I mean, there's Rome, right?
Yeah.
And then the Romans went everywhere, and they influenced the local people, and a few of them would have been, kind of becoming part of that elite. But you don't see the same structures, in southern Germany
Well,
or whatever.
Yeah,
Let's-
exactly.
let's-
I mean, in England, Romans were there for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
You can hardly find anything Roman in
Yeah.
England
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. I mean, there are there, but
They're
like
there,
The
there's
Hadrian
Rome.
Wall. And,
Right?
But if
It's
you
a different
compare,
story.
if you compare, like bringing it to Dahab, we have the Nabatean port here.
Yes.
That
is something-
maybe looks a little closer to what the village looks
Yes,
like.
yes, I think it
Yeah.
looks same
It's
building,
stacked.
sort of.
Uneven
Stacked
sized
Was,
stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it had a tower. It had a tower in the
Yeah.
middle, which would have been pretty tall structure. Yeah.
It had, but not anymore.
No. It's just what 1 meter,
The
half a meter
foundation,
standing. Yeah.
Thank God,
yeah.
otherwise we would have 2 lighthouses. That would be confusing.
Yeah. Knock that one down.
So we're not. I mean, this would be a really interesting thing to bring someone and go to the port, and we would love to take you there as well to
Yeah.
see
we
the
gotta
port
check it
right
out.
here in Dahab, because it's
Yeah.
kind of also we can compare it to the
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
something that's kind of, overlooked. It's like, oh, yeah, you've got this Nabatean port. Oh, right. And
Yeah.
then nobody really goes into it or checks it out. But
No.
it's
That's close.
something
So,
special. Yeah.
but
You
I
can
would
see.
like to have a closer look at that and
Mhm.
And I think
maybe
they have
take
this.
a camera with a telelens to get some
Yeah, see it maybe
close-up
from
photos.
the top.
See if they use the cement, for example, there
Yeah,
between the rocks or not.
yeah. We need to have a closer look. Yeah.
I think the war scene that you think they make this is documentary for war was there or like
I mean, we're calling it war. I mean, yeah, they're definitely fighting,
definitely.
and
But
yeah.
was it a tribal war, or was it a war with the Syrians, or with the Romans, or we don't know.
No,
Yeah.
We just don't know.
no, we have no
We
idea.
know that they used bow and arrow, but,
Mhm.
but that's about it. Was that for hunting or was that for war? Because there's also a lot of animals
Yeah.
described on these inscriptions.
yeah.
What looks like dogs, what looks like monkeys, maybe.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
Ibex for
Ibex.
sure.
Ibex
Ibex
is
for
always
sure,
there.
which is
Yeah.
all about hunting. They
Yeah.
wouldn't be. Oh, I don't know if they used the ibex for war. They trained them. I have
No.
no
So
idea.
maybe
Just
they
doesn't
were
want to
riding the
know.
camels
We
and
were just
hunt
guessing.
other animals with their camels and
Yeah, but is it then a war scene, or is it talking about the big hunt that
Well,
they
there
were
was-
doing in Sinai when there was forest
they-
and ibex and that was a hunting place?
It could
Could
just as
be.
easily be a
For
hunting
the
scene.
summer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We just
But it
don't know.
looked
Yeah.
like they
It's all
were
guessing game.
killing people
I
as
mean,
well.
there is one I think where they kind of go against each
Yeah.
other,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So you have like camels coming from this side, camels coming from that side. So
And what looked like horses,
yeah, there's-
which would have been then Romans. Or well, they used horses
Yeah.
before camels, so
yeah, that could have been both.
so it could be anyone.
Yeah, and that's the issue, is that empires mix, don't they? And they overlap, and it starts to be,
Yeah.
if it's a spot that a lot of people were going in and out, then
We have a lot of photos of those inscriptions, but I mean, your imagination takes over
Mm-hmm.
because you see what you want to see.
Yeah.
Like I saw clearly a couple of characters riding on what could be a horse,
Yeah.
holding a cross,
Okay, right.
which
yeah.
could be like Christians against
whoever
the-
like different.
Yeah.
whoever the
Somebody.
different
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
religion was there.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Could be, yeah.
It also could be that he had a lantern.
Yeah, sword.
Because it was nighttime.
honestly,
Or
even
it's a short sword. I
Yeah,
don't-
yeah.
it's
What about
Roman.
our new guest
So,
here?
so
yeah. What do you think it was?
she probably knows better than us.
Well, the amazing part again is to go and be able to visit these places and explore and be in the desert and be close to Dahab, and we're just enjoying spending
Yeah.
this time so much
Oh, yeah.
and appreciate sharing it with you guys. And thanks, Wolfgang, for saying hi. That was really
Yay.
fun.
Yeah.
Come and dive with us very soon, we hope. We miss you around here.
That was great.
So we're just enjoying it so much. And what do you think we're going to do?
Next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
Maybe the Naomi's or something from the hub. If we
Yeah.
could manage to put something from the hub
We
together,
went to
can
a big
do.
party here in Dahab.
We did.
Yeah.
The night show.
The night show, yeah. We could do the
Could
night
be the
show.
night show or Naomi's. We'll
Yeah.
see
We'll
what
see.
we can put in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned and you will see too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Thanks for watching.
Thank you
thanks
guys.
for watching, and don't forget to ask your questions. with your own language. Even after we stop the live and you can watch the video, you still can ask your questions and we can get back to you in the next episode.
Yeah.
You can ask your questions بالعربي,
In het Nederlands.
Español.
In English.
Ja suomeksi.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
See you later.
See